Hello, dear friends who love scary stories. We are at your service today with another interesting and scary story that we have prepared for you. At that time, I think I was 9 or 10 years old. We live in one of the green and rural settlements, which used to be a Jewish settlement, or even a part of it was an Armenian cemetery. This story is 100% true. We were a family of 5, 1 sister and 2 brothers along with our parents. It was the first year that we came to this house. It was summer when we had a guest from the city, and we were very busy and noisy. First night. All the stories started from that night. Of course, a few days before, my mother had heard many voices that told us all. We had no fear about the subject of jinn and spirits, and we did not take it seriously because we did not believe so much, only sometimes for fun and laughter. We were taking care of ourselves. That night my mom said this. Everyone laughed as a joke, especially one of my aunts. That night, she said, "I don't accept this at all. What are you talking about?" Our house had 2 bedrooms and a living room that was separate from the living room. I remember exactly that night at 3 o'clock in the morning. We were sleeping in the living room. I was almost asleep when we woke up with a loud scream. My mother and father looked at each other and ran towards the room where the sound of screaming came. The face of one of my cousin's daughters was like a harp. We were looking like this with fear, saying, "What happened? What happened?" They couldn't talk at all. In short, a few minutes passed. We brought water for them. They calmed down. We asked them what happened. My sister said, "We had just fallen asleep. We heard the sound of a man snoring from under our feet." My aunt, who was lying on the bed, was bending over and laughing in our faces with a manly voice. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. It really seemed like he had become someone else. We all screamed and came out of the room. When we looked, the face of one of my cousins was like a harp. We were all surprised. I didn't know why. I mean, my aunt came out of the room a few seconds after the girls. When we asked him what happened, "Why did you do this?" he said that I don't remember anything. It was just like a small child was sitting in my room playing with my hand. This was the beginning of the story. My cousin came out with my brother while I was in the room, started making fun of him and laughed, then came back to the room as if nothing had happened. We all slept together in the living room. It wasn't even 2 hours later when we woke up from my uncle's voice. He said that my cousin can't talk. He didn't say anything. He hit her in the face to calm down. She didn't say anything. Her head was down as if she was crying. She was there. We were all awake until the morning. My cousin spoke in the morning, but he didn't say anything for a few sentences because of his fear. Exclamation mark. He used to tell me that we will suffocate you if you say it in a thick male voice. You are too loud. In the end, all the guests of the city left the same morning out of fear, and we were left alone. My father's job was such that he had to go to foreign ambassadors 3 or 4 times a month for 2 or 3 days. I was afraid that we all had to sleep together. One of the nights that my father we weren't asleep, I woke up with the sound of 2 people talking. The sound was like 2 people talking loudly, but their voices were as if they were squeaking. But as if I didn't have a voice, I woke up everyone. The sound stopped. We all stayed awake until the morning. From that episode on, every night when my father was not at home, we had to tell one of the family to tell them that they had to tell me smiley face. To sum it up, it happened that my aunt's husband had come to you. He was sleeping in our house. He screamed at 2 o'clock in the morning. The same usual story of staying awake until morning. He was talking about getting up from the bed and throwing it around me. Several short people were sitting there, whose bodies were obvious, but my color was like camel skin. Under these conditions, no one will come again. We are all sure that our blood has jinn. My father had to decide to lighten his work. There was no news for a while. One day we decided to go to my grandmother's house. We all agreed to go. My mother and my sister had a fight about her clothes. In short, me, my sister and my father went down and got in the car. My mother was supposed to get something and come down. After a few minutes, she came down and killed us. When he saw it, he got loose and fell on the ground. We calmed him down and asked him what happened. He said that I was coming out of the house. He saw my sister sitting in the room and staring at him. My mom gets nervous, shouts, throws something at him, and my sister laughs. My mom tells her to get ready and come downstairs. When my mom comes to the parking lot, she sees my sister in the car and realizes that the one she saw above was not my sister. To summarize, a few other things happened when we realized that we can't live here anymore. My father went to an exorcist in a city and he wrote a prayer and said to keep him in the house for 40 days. Then those problems were almost solved, but still no one is sleeping in the room where the first incident happened. Everyone has gone to sleep. Something happened.